Ladies, listen closely. Going no contact is a solid first move, but let's be honest, it's only the beginning. If you really want him to feel it, if you want him to sit in silence, questioning everything he thought he knew, you have to do more than disappear. You have to elevate. See, most women go no contact, thinking their silence will be enough. They wait, they hope, they sit in the shadows praying he'll suddenly wake up and realize what he lost. But that's not how this works. Silence without growth is just waiting. And waiting is not power. Waiting is not healing. Waiting is not winning. When a man knows he's losing a good woman, he expects her to be exactly where he left her. Stuck, confused, quietly aching for his return. That's the pattern. But what if you broke it? What if, instead of sitting still, you used that silence as fuel? What if you turned your heartbreak into evolution? No contact should be a launch pad, not a hiding place. If you want him to truly feel your absence, your energy has to shift. You don't win this game by fading away. You win by rising. Start by reclaiming your focus. Redirect all that emotional energy you were giving him. Every thought, every worry, and pour it back into yourself. Go to the gym. Fix your sleep. Upgrade your wardrobe. Improve your mindset. Read. Travel. Learn. You rise so powerfully that even the universe takes notice. You become the woman he never thought you could be without him. That's when he feels it. Because here's something about men. They can sense it. They know when your energy has detached. They feel that silent shift when you stop needing them. He might not say a word, but deep down, he knows. And it unsettles him. He'll feel it when you stop texting. He'll feel it when you stop watching his stories. He'll feel it when you stop showing up in his world. But more than that, he'll feel it when he sees you thriving. When he sees your smile again, authentic, free. When he sees you glow with the kind of happiness he could never give you. That's when he starts questioning everything. That's when the regret hits. Because truthfully, a man doesn't regret losing a woman who disappears. He regrets losing a woman who shines without him. So don't just disappear, transform. Don't just cut contact, upgrade. Step into your highest self. Build a life so beautiful, so strong, so full of joy that by the time he realizes what he lost, you've already outgrown the version of yourself that needed his validation. And here's the key. It starts with mindset. No contact is not about punishing him. It's about liberating you. It's about breaking free from the emotional weight that kept you stuck. It's about taking back your time, your self-worth, and your power. As long as you're silently hoping he'll notice your absence, you haven't truly moved on. And he can feel that. Men always know when you're still emotionally clinging. But the moment you truly let go, that's when the tide shifts. That's when they start to feel the loss in ways they can't explain. Because men don't respond to words. They respond to results. They don't care about the long emotional texts. They don't care how much they hurt you. What shakes them is when they see you become the woman they assumed you couldn't be without them. It's the success, the smile, the glow, the undeniable energy that says, I'm good, with or without you. So what do you do next? You work on yourself like never before. You take that pain and forge it into power. You don't just survive, you thrive. You don't level the playing field. You build a whole new one. Not for him, for you. And as you begin to glow without him, the silence becomes more than a pause. It becomes a powerful presence. You become so immersed in your own growth, in your own elevation, that thoughts of him slowly fade into the background noise of a life you're rebuilding. From the ground up, you're no longer wondering what he's doing or whether he's thinking about you. You're too focused on your goals, your healing, your next chapter. You surround yourself with positivity, with people who lift you higher, with experiences that remind you of your worth and your strength. And trust me, when he sees that shift, when he realizes you're not just surviving, you're thriving, he feels it. Why? Because men are competitive by nature. They don't want to lose, especially not to another man. They don't want to watch someone else admire the very woman they took for granted. They don't want to see you laughing, glowing, evolving without them. That bruises the ego more than any words ever could. That's why this works. Because when he witnesses your evolution, when he sees you becoming the version of yourself he never thought you'd be without him, that's when regret creeps in. That's when he questions everything. But the most beautiful part, by then, you won't need him to notice. You won't need his apology, his attention, or his validation. You'll be too far ahead, too focused on the new reality you created. Without him, let's be real, there will be moments when you feel weak. Moments when your heart aches and your mind wanders. Moments when you're tempted to reach out just to see if he still cares. But when those urges rise, pause, breathe, and remember why you started this journey in the first place. Remember the nights he made you feel like you weren't enough. Remember how many times you questioned your worth, your value, your voice because of him. Then take that emotion and convert it into power. Let it fuel your next step forward. This isn't about making him miss you. The real victory is in becoming so powerful, so full, so undeniably you, that by the time he does miss you, you're already unreachable. You've already outgrown the space he left behind. That is a win no man can ever take away. So no contact isn't enough. It's just the foundation, the blank canvas. The real masterpiece happens when you turn that silence into transformation, when you stop hoping and start healing, when your absence is amplified by the life you build in the meantime. Because the truth is, men don't respond to silence alone. They respond to what that silence produces. They don't chase empty space. They chase clarity, change, and confidence. A woman who simply disappears might get a glance, but a woman who reemerges stronger, brighter, and bolder, that's the one they never forget. He'll start to feel it when you stop reaching, when you stop liking his posts, when your name no longer shows up in his notifications. But most of all, he'll feel it when he sees you smiling again, freely, when he realizes your glow has nothing to do with him, when your laughter is louder and your life is fuller. The mistake many women make is believing silence alone will make a man come running. But it doesn't. Men don't sit and dwell the way women do. They don't overanalyze absence. They move on until something shakes them, and that something is you. unrecognizable in your strength, in your peace, in your power. You want to make him feel your absence, then stop giving him your mental energy. The more you focus on whether he's noticing, the more power you're still giving him. Take it back. Reclaim it by truly letting go, and by becoming the version of yourself you were always meant to be, independent of anyone else's presence or absence. It's time to level up in every dimension, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Prioritize yourself in ways you never have before. Begin with confidence, real confidence, the kind that radiates from within, that says, I know who I am, and I don't need validation to prove it. Because when a woman truly knows her worth, she becomes magnetic. Men are drawn to that energy, not because she chases, but because she doesn't. Confidence doesn't come from pretending. It comes from choosing growth every single day. It comes from pushing through the discomfort and choosing yourself, even when it's hard. And when you do that, the world responds. He responds. So focus on your goals. Build something for yourself. Nothing is more powerful than a woman in motion, unstoppable, intentional, and unapologetically herself. When he sees that, when he witnesses that evolution, that's when it hits him. He was never the center of your world. Maybe he never was. And in that moment, the power shifts completely. And once you shift the focus back to yourself, once you begin to truly rise, everything about you changes. You walk differently. You carry yourself with quiet power. Your energy is different now, and people around you can feel it. He can feel it. He notices the glow in your skin, the light in your eyes, the calm in your presence. He sees the difference. He senses the shift. And more than anything, he feels it. But here's the truth. The glow doesn't come from trying to prove anything. It comes from protecting your peace. One of the biggest mistakes women make after a breakup is chasing closure, chasing attention, or chasing validation. They check his social media, look for signs, compare timelines, wonder if he's moved on, and in doing so, they drain themselves. Every time you entertain that drama, you're giving away precious energy that should have been poured back into your healing. The moment you truly let go, that's the moment you reclaim your power. It's not about blocking him. It's about freeing yourself. It's about cutting the invisible cords that tie your thoughts to someone who couldn't see your value the first time. Because every time you let him occupy space in your mind, you give him influence over your joy. And he didn't earn that privilege. Detach. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. The more emotionally detached you become, the more magnetic your presence becomes. There's something undeniably attractive about a woman who's no longer seeking validation from the person who hurt her. A woman who's focused on herself, who's surrounded by good people, who's building a life full of purpose, peace, and progress. That's what shakes him, when you are genuinely happy without him, when your life is rich with laughter, friendship, growth, and gratitude. That's when he truly starts to feel the loss. Because deep down, he expected you to fall apart. He expected you to wait, but you didn't. You rose. You kept going. And now, he's watching a version of you that no longer needs his presence to feel complete. Here's what most people don't understand. Men don't regret losing the woman who begged. They don't feel the loss of the woman who cried, pleaded, or waited. They regret losing the woman who transformed, who kept her silence but backed it up with evolution. That's the kind of absence that haunts them, the kind that lingers. So, every time you're tempted to check on him, to wonder what he's thinking, remind yourself of one unshakable truth. You are the prize. You are the woman he will one day wish he had appreciated. But by the time that realization hits, it won't matter anymore. You'll be too far ahead, too focused on the life you're building, too in love with your peace to look back. Because men always assume they have time. They assume you'll always be there, waiting in the background, ready to forgive, ready to try again. But when he realizes that door is closed, that the woman who once longed for him has outgrown him, that's when the regret hits deep. That's when the what-ifs start creeping in. But by then, you've built something too beautiful to turn around. You've created a life so full, so vibrant, so empowering, that there's simply no space left for someone who didn't value you the first time. That's the real win. That's the kind of power that doesn't need to shout. It simply radiates. Understand this. A man doesn't truly feel your absence when you stop calling. He feels it when you stop caring, when you no longer seek his opinion, when his validation no longer determines your worth, when your silence is no longer hopeful but healed. That's when he feels it. Because silence without change is just a waiting room. But silence paired with transformation, that's what leaves an imprint. If you disappear and stay the same, he knows you're still waiting. But if you disappear and evolve, if you rise while he's watching, if your progress becomes louder than your pain, that's when he starts questioning everything. He expects you to keep checking his stories. He expects you to still wonder what he's up to. He expects your world to shrink without him. But when he sees that you're glowing brighter than ever, when he sees you're becoming everything he didn't believe you could be, that's when the story changes. That's when he's the one watching. He's the one wondering. He's the one haunted by the thought that he lost someone irreplaceable. There's nothing more powerful than a woman who realizes she doesn't need anyone to complete her. And when he sees that you're more successful, more confident, more at peace than you ever were with him, that's when it hits. Not when you cry, not when you beg, but when you rise. And by the time he understands what he truly lost, it won't matter anymore, because you'll already be standing in a future so beautiful, so fulfilling, so you, that going back wouldn't even be a thought. That's the real power. That's the quiet revenge. And that's how you make him feel it.